Last night, Donald Trump flattened Joe Biden. He obliterated that man on the stage in oh so many ways. I'm just going to go right to it. Donald Trump asked Joe Biden if he would end the oil industry, and Joe Biden said we would transition from oil. Yes. I can't believe it. And then Kristen Welker, the moderator, says, why would you do that? It almost sounded like she was saying, why would you do that? Not in reference to ending the oil industry, but why would you publicly announce you're going to end the oil industry? You're going to lose Pennsylvania and Texas and Oklahoma and all of these states. Yep. Joe Biden said it. And it seemed like his stuttered response, he knew, he stepped in it. He had been trying to deny for the past weeks. I never wanted to ban fracking. Oh, well, Trump put together a video. Joe Biden said it over and over and over again. I got to tell you, last night, Joe Biden, he got knocked down by Trump. He improved his performance. He hit many of his cues on target. It wasn't a perfect performance. Trump did get carried away sometimes talking over Kristen Welker. My props to the moderator, too. She did a really, really good job. But I'll tell you this, man, muting Trump's microphone happened a couple times because it was on, I believe it was on a timer, like it would automatically go out. And then they immediately, reactivated his mic. It helped Trump. The threat of shutting off someone's mic helped Donald Trump because Joe Biden can't talk for long periods of time. And there were a few instances where Joe Biden was spiraling out of control and he desperately needed someone to come in and shut it down. But it wasn't there for him. It wasn't. You see, in the first debate, Trump kept butting in. So Joe Biden would get his free out. He'd start going, and then Trump would jump in and then Biden would shut up. Last night, there were several periods, I tweeted it, where I'm like, man, Biden is falling apart. He could not go a full 2 minutes. His answer on North Korea was just an incoherent, garbled mess. I didn't even know what he was saying. I mean, that was a lot of what he was trying to respond to. I tell you this, man, Joe Biden said yes when asked if he would end the oil industry. Now, of course, the media is swooping in to try and save Joe Biden. And the polls that are coming out say Joe Biden defeated Donald Trump in the debate. I don't know what debate you were watching. I'll tell you this. Maybe there are people who really do believe that Joe Biden beat Trump. I really like Frank Luntz, the pollster, because I trust him. I really do. He always polls undecided voters, and it seems like he's giving you the straight shot, the legit reaction, because it's not this overly biased, everybody hates Trump, Trump's awful. No, it goes back and forth. But he mentioned that the ethics questions on Hunter Biden just weren't landing with people because they don't care. The climate change stuff, a lot of these issues, people want to know about the economy, their jobs, their healthcare. They want to know if I'm going to have a job next year. The economy is falling apart. So I'll tell you why I believe Trump truly won. First, it may be that people just don't like Donald Trump. And the guy's got a mouth. And I tell you this, man, if you're a Trump supporter, you might not understand it. But yeah, Trump just has that. He's like nails on a chalkboard to a lot of people. Maybe because of that, they see Joe Biden. Come on, man, and they like it. But in terms of earning voters and winning swing states, I think it goes to Donald Trump. You ask a regular person who won the debate, and they're going to say, I liked Biden. And that's good. That's good for Biden. And that's fair. But you ask someone who follows the news, and I'll tell you this. Trump loses on personability, on personality. But I'm telling you right now, man, in my opinion, people in Pennsylvania right now are sweating bullets. Some of these people may have already voted. Imagine this. You're in Texas. You voted early. You're like, you know what? I'm going to vote for Biden. I'm going to go do it. And then all of a sudden, Joe Biden on that stage says, yes, we will transition off of oil. Whoa, that's my job. Immediately, like, what do I do? I already voted. He just said it. He said in the last debate he wasn't going to do this. And then I voted. And there it is. I'm sure there are a lot of people who voted already. And they're like, oh, no, what have I done? And I think that's partly why they wanted early voting. And that's why Joe Biden has been hiding in his basement. They want as many people to vote as possible on hating Trump and not have Joe Biden actually come out and admit it. In terms of jobs and the lockdowns, Trump said, no, we have to reopen. We have to reopen. And they were like, people are going to die and people have died. And Trump's like, we have to reopen. And I'll tell you this, man, don't underestimate the selfishness of a human being. Now, I'm not saying it to be mean. I'm not saying that humans are evil. I'm just saying it is inherent within all of us to fight for survival. And right now, you've got people suffering. Suicides are up. Depression is way up. People don't know where they're getting their food from, their paychecks. They've lost their jobs. And Trump said, we cannot stay closed. We can't do it. We have to reopen. Well, what about COVID? What about COVID? I tell you this, Joe Biden said something that was a huge mistake. He said, many of you are sitting there and there's somebody missing from your table. Joe, who are you talking to? Listen, 220 or so thousand people have died, and that's horrifying. I mean, that's a ridiculously large number. That's horrifying. What people don't seem to understand is that we don't know what would have happened if different things were done. So you can say that's too many people. It is too many people, but maybe it would have been more. Trump's argument is it would have been more, and Biden's argument it would have been less. I don't know. It's a stupid argument. But I tell you this, the amount of people who have lost someone to COVID relative to the amount of voters is astronomically small. I'm not saying that to disrespect anybody. If you know somebody who, if you lost someone to COVID, then you have my condolences, and I'm sorry to hear, man. I think it's a serious issue, and I think Trump has done his best. Even Anthony Fauci was praising him early on. But I tell you this, Joe Biden wasn't actually talking to people in that capacity. Let's do this. Let me read you about this oil thing, because the media is coming to his defense, and then I'm going to annoy you. Yes, you see. At one point in the debate, Donald Trump said they're kids who are separated from their parents because they're brought here by coyotes. Excuse me. And coyote means human smuggler. These are people who are paid. They call themselves the coyotes or coyotes. Blue check Twitter, leftist Twitter was lit up by these arrogant and ignorant people all saying, what? How can a coyote bring a baby? What? And someone actually posted a picture of like a baby riding on a coyote. Listen, if you're ignorant, I'm not going to be mean to you. There are a lot of things I don't know, and I get things wrong all the time. But if you're ignorant and arrogant, I am going to drag you through the mud. It is better to keep your mouth shut and appear stupid than to open it and remove all doubt. If you don't know what he means, Google it. Now, these people vote. I'm going to show you all these tweets. It's horrifying that these people vote. But first, fossil fuels. Trump asks, will you remember that, Texas, as Biden vows transition from oil? Now, I think they're being fair here. I think they're being a little too fair to Biden, a little nicer to Biden. Trump said, let me read it. Biden was asked about climate change, and Trump pushed him with an off-the-cuff question about the oil industry. I would transition from the oil industry. Yes. That's a big statement, Trump chided the former president. Host Kristen Welker asked Biden why he would do that. Because the oil industry pollutes significantly. It has to be replaced by renewable energy over time. I'd stop giving them federal subsidies. Trump blasted Biden's statement, saying he'd essentially vowed to destroy the oil industry. That's maybe the biggest statement in terms of business. What he is saying is he is going to destroy the oil industry. Will you remember that, Texas? Will you remember that, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma, Ohio? I can't believe it. I kid you not. That was near the end of the debate. And it was like watching Thor, at that moment in Avengers, just dropping the hammer and like everything explodes. I know that the left hates my Marvel references, but I like them. It was like Trump dropping the hammer. Joe Biden walked right into it. Now check this out. Conservatives pounce on Biden's desire to move away from oil. Oh, they're so desperate to protect this man. The former vice president said he would stop giving the industry federal subsidies, to the consternation of President Donald Trump and his supporters. I got to tell you, man, this article right here exemplifies why I believe Donald Trump will win. Donald Trump and his supporters. The union worker in Pennsylvania who is undecided and doesn't care all that much about politics is not a Trump supporter who is going, oh, daggum, Joe Biden and the oil industry. It's a regular guy with kids who is sitting there, having a beer, eating some chips with his family, and they're watching the debate. And then Joe Biden said he'd end the oil industry, and he went, oh, geez, whoa, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. And I'm sure there was a debate about it. There are regular people in this country who are not politically active, who just want to know, will I have a job when all is said and done? And Biden said, no. Check this out. The media doesn't understand that people in this country like their jobs, and we are energy independent, and we are better off now than we were 4 years ago. If Trump loses, wow. I said it earlier, but maybe it won't entirely be his fault, to be fair. I mean, he's got personality issues for sure, but the media has been lined up a storm. Check this out. They don't want to show you Trump's question, because Trump's question was the most important part. They say, quote, I would transition from the oil industry. Yes, Biden said. There's a big statement. Donald Trump said, would you shut down? I'm paraphrasing, but he said, would you shut down the oil industry? Joe Biden said, I would transition from the oil industry. Yes. When asked, would you end the oil industry? Yes. Okay. America, I hope you are hearing this. We are about a week and a half from the election. 50 million people have already voted. It may be too late, but please, if you think this is important information and you think I do a good job, share this video and subscribe, but let people know what's happening. They go to mention that Biden has called climate change an existential threat to the country. We know Joe Biden wants to end. He has said it over and over again. The Trump campaign put out a video of Biden saying it over and over and over again. After the debate, Biden clarified he didn't want to end the fossil fuel industry, but rather get rid of subsidies for fossil fuels. Spare me your defense of this man. They are trying desperately to pick up the pieces. I'm telling you this, man. When Joe Biden said this, and Kristen Welker, she goes, why would you do that? It didn't sound like she was saying, why would you end the oil industry? Because she would have said, no, but why would you end the oil industry? Why would you transition? Why would you do that? You could almost, someone tweeted this to me, you could almost hear the face palm. Oh, I heard it. I was like, no, I can't believe it when Joe Biden said that. My jaw dropped. That's got to be it. Pennsylvania, landslide Trump. Are you kidding me? All of these other countries, counties, districts, states, all of these other places are going to just, I have to imagine the union workers and all of these different jurisdictions just went for Trump when he said this. Let me show you a bunch of these tweets. So this is the video from the Daily Caller. I was going to play it. I'm not going to play it because I think you get the point. But Donald Trump put out this video as per your request. Now, this is fascinating because I think most of us, Joe Biden said, I have never said I oppose fracking. Trump said, you said it on tape. And then he says, play the tape, show the tape, put it on your website. So Trump did. And it is 50 seconds, about 35 to 40 seconds of him saying, we're going to work out fossil fuels. We're going to ban fossil fuels. We're going to ban fracking. We're going to ban fracking across this country. What about, say, stopping fracking? Yes. And stopping the pipeline? Yes, exactly. That's right. No new fracking. That's Joe Biden. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to show you the polls, but I want to start with this fact check because I love it. PolitiFact says, Trump said they spied on my campaign. False. Multiple independent investigations, including a series of bipartisan Senate reports, found no political influence over the FBI investigation of Russian influence in the 2016 election. What does that have to do with the statement? You see, this is the trick they do. The first statement from Trump, they spied on my campaign, is absolutely true. Yes, they spied on his campaign. They literally spied on his campaign. Like Joe Biden unmasked the name of Michael Flynn because he was spying on Michael Flynn. And what? It's all a fact. What they do is the second part has nothing to do with the first. Trump didn't say there was a partisan effort from the Democrats to disrupt me. No, he said they spied on my campaign. That's true. Okay. What does the other section of that fact check have to do with anything? That's the trick. So it's in a non sequitur. So here are the polls. All right, here are the polls. New poll on who won tonight's date from YouGov. Biden up 19, 54 to 35. CNN, Biden plus 14. And Data Progress, Biden plus 11. Hey, consider it, man. People might just vote based on whether they liked someone. That seems to be the reality. And Trump is far from likable. So the polls are showing Biden has won. I just don't agree because I think there's going to be a lot of people in, say, Pennsylvania who are like, wow, I hate Trump, but Joe Biden's going to end the oil industry. So Joe Biden just lost like every union probably. U.S. political polls say, based on our snap poll of 772 likely voters who watched the debate, 52% say Joe Biden won. I don't buy it. I just don't. There were periods where Joe was unable to speak. And I'm watching it. I'm like, if you're watching these two guys and you see spry Trump and you see, blabbering, incoherent Joe Biden, Joe looks out of it, man. Not to mention his answers were trash. Political polls says Joe Biden won. 9% said it was a tie, but all of these polls show a similar result. Now, CNN, who won? Joe Biden, 53%, Donald Trump, 39%. And look at this shocked face. I love it. Here's the best part. Fox News. What do you think Fox News said? Your voice, your nation. Who won the debate? Trump, 74%. Biden, 24%. Now, listen. I don't know if these polls are real. I don't know what polls to believe, but I'll tell you, Tucker Carlson on Fox News has the highest rated cable TV news program, cable news program in history. But these other channels have big viewership as well. I think the Fox viewership are the people who probably pay attention, the people who probably follow the news, and they saw Joe Biden stutter and stammer. But I'll tell you this, it's two different realities. It really is. I don't think the polls matter all that much. All that matters is that people are going to go out and vote, and they're going out and voting now. So we'll see who wins. My friends, I would like to bring to you the biggest challenge in running a democratic institution. What do you do when you have a massive population of morons that are extremely influential that are going to drive you off a cliff? I'll give you an example. Let's say you're driving a car and you see a cliff about a mile up the road. It's like in the distance. You're like, oh, that's a cliff. I'm going to push the brakes down. And you get someone like David Hogg or these blue check leftists going, no. You got to drive. You got to push the gas. And then everyone in the back starts laughing. All these leftists are laughing like, you're so dumb. Push the brakes down. We're driving, dude. This guy's so stupid. And they all vote to push the gas down. And you're like, but there's a cliff. And they're like, you're so dumb, dude. We're driving. Duh. Use the gas to drive. And then they all vote to slam the gas down. And you go, boom, right off the cliff. And you're all dead. David Hogg. Oh, David, use Google. It would have saved you. David Hogg, you may be familiar, is one of the kids from Parkland, and he has 1 million followers. Now, David Hogg is particularly ignorant. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful. He's a young guy and he doesn't know what he's talking about. The problem is he's a young guy who doesn't know what he's talking about with a massive platform, and everyone knows he looks like an idiot now. How embarrassing. I can only assume he'll come to regret this stuff. He said, imagine calling the immigrant parents that bring their children to the United States for a better life coyotes. The level of xenophobia is sickening. A coyote is a human smuggler. They are people that are hired to traffic. Now, I know a lot of people on the right like to call them human traffickers, but the colloquial understanding of trafficking is usually when someone's taken against their will. The coyotes are hired to take kids and people and find the best route to smuggle them into the country. It is an extremely dangerous and dirty, underhanded thing to do. I'll put it that way. I'm not going to call it a job, I guess. But these are people who are smuggling humans, and often the people die. So when they smuggle a kid across the border, how do you reunite that kid with their parents? The left won't tell you this because they're just trying to seize power or they're too dumb. But how do you prove a child and a parent are related? You have an adult and you have a kid. Well, that kid said, that person's my parent, so we'll just put them together. You don't know it. And so they try to figure out how to actually get it done. But no, David, you have no idea what you're talking about. And this tweet is horrifyingly embarrassing. But if you thought that was it, I'd like to show you this tweet from Sophia Narwitz. Tonight on blue checkmark Twitter, they don't know what coyotes are. This isn't even half of all I found. Siraj A. Hashmi, I hope your list writing hand isn't sore. For those that aren't familiar, Siraj has a thing called the list of, I think it's the list of people who should have their phones taken away. Here we go. Check it out. Lexa Doig, please explain children are brought here by coyotes to me. I'm certain that's not literal. I respect that tweet. I really, really do. Lexa didn't know and she asked a legitimate question. There's no reason to drag her for saying that. She even said, I'm certain that's not literal. And then someone probably responded, it means it's a colloquial term, a slang term for the smugglers. Oh, interesting. My respect to her for asking. That's a smart thing. Coyotes? What does it mean? Children brought here by coyotes. Children are brought by coyotes. Coyotes? Coyotes? Look at them all. They're confused. What? Oh, my word. What are children being brought here by coyotes, you loon? Children brought by coyotes, of course. Did he just say children are brought here by coyotes? What does it even mean? Use Google. Is it so hard for these people? Now imagine these people who don't know what a coyote is didn't do a single Google search. Imagine them writing news articles, and they have. And I'll show you one. Children are brought here by coyotes. WTF Donald Trump. Wow. My friends, did you catch the point last night where Joe Biden called Donald Trump Abraham Lincoln. I was so confused by what Biden was doing with this. I mean, I wish I could get to every point of the debate. But he was like, Abraham Lincoln was the most racist president we've ever had. And I was like, what? What? The dude signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Now, I understand in historical context. Oh, yeah, Abraham Lincoln was racist. He definitely was. But pretty woke for his day, I'd say, right? I was confused at first. And then I'm like, is he calling Donald Trump Lincoln? That's a compliment. And then Trump was like, wait, what was that? Lincoln? And Biden was like, oh, you called yourself Lincoln. He's like, no, I didn't. Joe Biden. Wow. I had to bring that up just because I just realized I really should have mentioned that in the beginning. But look at this. Y'all laughing, but dude dead serious. He's dead serious and prepared these responses unreal. Imagine being this stupid. I thought I was tripping when I heard that. Kids came over on coyotes. Am I missing something? It's called Google. Look at this. Someone actually posted a photo. You can't really see it, but there is a baby riding a coyote. My word. These people vote. My friends, these people vote. What do you do? What do you do? I don't know. Let me show you something. Let me go to my Twitter, and I'll show you this right here. Imagine having an audience and voter base so ignorant but arrogant that you have to write this article. Quote, better to remain silent and be thought of a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. I give you an article from Vox from December 21st, 2018. Does Trump think there are actual coyotes coming over the border? Smuggler, coyotes are a problem at the border, not dogs. It breaks my heart, and it scares me. These people who watched that debate, who said Donald Trump lost, many of them probably don't know what a coyote is, and they're probably going, oh, Trump is so dumb. Well, that's Trump's fault for not saying the word smuggler and saying the word coyote. Now, to be fair, Trump should have realized a lot of people don't know what a coyote is in reference to smuggling. But I guess Trump just has a little bit more faith in the American people than Joe Biden does. Vox had to write this almost 2 years ago because their audience doesn't know how to use Google. Simple Google search. And then imagine all of these blue checks writing articles, and they don't do any fact checking, and they have no idea what they're talking about, man. So I think Donald Trump crushed it. I really, really do in so many ways. And I think whether these people say that Donald Trump won or didn't win, Trump won voters last night. Trump won voters. He did. And I think he won Pennsylvania with that. That's nuts. But I'm going to give a shout out to Kristen Welker. And this article, she talks about the talk. I've got a couple more things to mention, but I want to give a shout out to her because I think she did a really good job. She pressed on Joe Biden. It wasn't perfect, but man, was she infinitely better than Chris Wallace. Now, she did a good job, far from perfect, but I really do think Kristen Welker did a great job moderating and on keeping control of things. It really was impressive. And she pressed Biden on a few things. She could have done better, but she did. She does have ties to the Democratic Party. I've criticized her for this and the debates themselves. But ultimately, I think Trump was able to shine last night. I think he did really, really well. Far from perfect himself. I want to mention a couple more things. We'll go a little bit long. Welker raises question about the talk. This one I took issue with. The talk is supposedly this racial thing where black families tell their kids, here's how you got to act around cops because, bad things might happen. It's not a racial thing. Tons of people on Twitter who are white are like, I got the talk too. I got the talk. Maybe it's because I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I assumed the talk was a normal thing. It was when you were stopped by a cop, sir, ma'am, radio off, hands on the wheel, keys in the dash, don't go to the glove box. Cops are edgy. They could shoot you. I was told all of that. Maybe the reason I wasn't getting hassled or arrested or whatever is just because I got the talk and I considered it, I guess. I always thought it was kind of a class issue. If you're driving a Lambo and you're wearing a suit, you got a lot less to worry about because of the way cops are going to profile you. But so with that being said, that's my final thought on all of this stuff. Whatever, just a passive thing. But I will mention this. Warning flare. New swing state data shows massive Democratic early vote lead. In a worrisome sign for Republicans, Democrats are also turning out more low frequency and newly registered voters than the GOP. For now. But it is a warning sign. There's no reason Republicans can't be voting early. This isn't mail-in voting. This is early voting. Trump may lose. Republicans may lose. You better be paying attention. You better share content like this if you want Trump and the Republicans to win. Early voting is in person. It is not mail-in voting, and the Democrats are winning. 538 says Republicans are going to turn out en masse on Election Day, so we will see. And then mail-in ballots that come in after Election Day will likely will either be neutral or lean Republican. We don't know what's going to happen. But I think Trump just won Pennsylvania, and I got to say, after that debate performance, I think Trump is going to win. I do. I guess we'll see. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.